Ladies and gentlemen,
Totally pre-recorded in Bonner Springs, Kansas.
Kansas City Nights.
Oh, wow.
I'm Brian Rice.
I'm Shannon Geber.
And tonight's guest is a real treat.
Oh, man.
Kansas City institution,
Right.
Drew Six.
Drew Six.
Welcome, Drew.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Drew Six of Laughing Jack and Rain.
And let's be correct. He's more of his own thing.
He's more of his own thing nowadays.
Yes, he's been his own guy, doing his own thing. And so, you want to kick it off then?
Sure. Yeah. Hey, thanks for being here. Like I said, you've been on our list of people to interview since we started talking about this.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you. It's amazing. Looking at your website, man, you're booked through September, October at this point.
It's a good thing. It's the downside of the Midwest is January and February, and
Sure.
everyone retreats to their homes. So I'm always working on the business plan, and I've been doing this full time for a very long time. So it's like I try to do some destination gigs when I can, and
Right.
I'd like to end up in some warmer climates during that particular time of the year. You know?
Do you ever get gigs like down, like I'm thinking like in the Caribbean or someplace warmer than here during?
Well, here's the interesting thing about that. Like I've kind of pursued it, and I've started working on Vegas, and I've done some shows there. But I also have a lot of clients that have places in Scottsdale, and that would be a great place to be.
Okay.
Like, beginning of the year when it's cold. But as per what you said, like these guys that end up in these tropical places, I think a lot of musicians go there and retire, and they just sit on that bar stool playing music, and they do not want someone like me coming in town trying to take their gig. So I need like an inn where I'm like, hey man, I'm just going to be here for a couple of weeks to try this, and then I'll go back to the heartland where I'm from, kind of thing.
Yeah. You got a show at Voodoo Saturday. Is that right?
It's not Voodoo.
Oh, okay.
People get confused about this quite often. It is the Voo Lounge.
The
So it's
Voo,
just me,
yes.
and the Voo is
Okay.
actually in the historic Mulebach.
All right.
Which is now
All right,
owned by Marriott downtown.
Great.
So it's connected. But it's actually one of those cool velvety listening room type places. And it's been a real good fit. I wasn't sure about it when it first started, but it's like you get a lot of downtown traffic and people roll into there.
So we just did one of those things where our eyes
just
skimmed
like
the thing. And
everybody else, we just said went right to Voodoo.
Well, this happens all the time. So when I market it on my end, I'm always downtown Kansas City, Mulebach, like just trying to hit everybody. Because of course I played the Voodoo Lounge as well,
Yes,
but it's
yeah.
they're both a lounge. The name
Right.
too.
So
But,
is this more of a solo acoustic gig, or do you have a full band for this? It sounds more intimate.
Yeah, it is. It's more solo acoustic.
Okay.
But my solo acoustic presentation, especially there, I get to do more what I do. I play a drum with my foot. And I have like some harmonies I add. And so if it's kind of a wilder crowd, I can kind of bring it up. But it's also great. I mean, I get to play all my original music and mix in with the familiar ones. And it's just a good crowd. They have craft cocktails and they're chilling, and gives me a way to earn some new people, and it's attentive because it's a small enough room where people are actually, like I said, like a listening room, paying attention.
Right.
That's always nice.
Yes. You know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know the opposite.
Yes, we do indeed. Absolutely. So that's nice to be playing a room that people are there because they want to listen to music, and they're just not there to
Absolutely
party, and there's somebody over there in the corner or whatever, doing their thing. So.
And by the same token, that particular venue, there's just foot traffic around there, different events, be it, someone playing at T-Mobile or there's a wedding. So you get that foot traffic, and then it gives me an opportunity to earn new fans that maybe stay with me and have not seen me before, as well as people that come there as a destination.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So what's beyond the Voo, what's the next big show that you're like, if you were, you know what I mean? Like a big show as opposed to playing a small room when you're doing a thing,
So we just did a big one last week. We did the 4th of July at the World War I Memorial.
Oh, yeah.
And that was awesome.
Nice.
And that was Jukebox Media worked with us on that, and we kind of opened the thing up. It was a really good fit. It was great. And that was a full band production type thing. And coming up, I mean, I when you talk about the bigger shows, I always think about the band shows.
Yes.
We're doing that the new area in Lee Summit that they've been working on forever. Green Street, I believe they call it. That's in August.
Wow.
So we were headlining the final night that Saturday, that weekend in August.
Oh, what part of Lee Summit's that in?
It's downtown. So they've redone all this for farmers market. I haven't been there. I just
Okay.
know that it's a big mess down there because everything's under construction.
Oh, yeah.
And so
Okay.
they're going to have a big grand opening.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know. Yeah, I remember because I was there for downtown days,
Yeah.
and there was one part that was like kind of fenced off toward. I think it's like where the City Hall
Yes.
part of. Okay,
Yeah, because if you try to drive down there, I guess it's impossible. So I went to high school there, so it's a little.
That's
I
right,
never play there, so it's kind of a homecoming for me. I'm excited.
really,
to,
you
to
never
do
play Lee Summit?
Hardly ever. I mean, I do well just outside of there. I do Lottawanna.
Yeah,
I play at the marina. I've done a lot of parties there and Winnebago as well. But most of the time, I mean, it used to be in downtown Lee Summit more. I just not. So hopefully it will be an occasion.
Right.
People will kind of feel like a coming
Remember.
home thing. Yeah. And I mean, I'm excited to do it.
Yeah.
So it's a full
Right.
band deal.
See the new setup down
Yeah.
there.
But the other thing I'm really excited about, and this hasn't really been announced either, but kind of a long backstory. But one of the things I did is I did some shows for Whiteman Air Force Base and became friends with some of the pilots, and that led to a pilot friend who does stunt piloting. I guess that's what you call it, for air shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So we had talked about working together for a long time, and he got me this gig. And this is actually an acoustic gig, but I'm going to do a private event for them at Top of the Rock because Branson has a huge
yeah.
air show.
Yeah.
So I'm in the
Nice. midst
of creating another one of my positive message songs that I'm kind of known for, but related
They're
to
great, man.
related to the flyovers and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, and seeing what we can plug in there. And my hope is that Johnny Morris is putting this on, who owns Bass Pro, and so I'm hoping he'll be there. So it's actually a private event for the pilots, and Blue Angels are involved and all that. So that's not a big band thing, but that's an intimate thing I'm super excited about because it's it's another group that I really want to get involved with. And at this point in my life, one of the biggest blessings of what I do is that knocking the walls down with music, these cultural experiences like motorcycle, fighter pilots, cowboy culture, and they accept you in a way that they never would without music, because music knocks those boundaries down. And if you're, especially if you're good at it, kind of thing.
Right. And you are.
That's like, well, it makes me a wealthy soul to get to meet these people and be in a world that I probably would have never had an opportunity to be in without music.
Yeah.
Oh, I relate. I relate. When I shoot events for like photography, it's like I would never go to some of these venues, never see, people like I've seen you. We cross paths doing.
Yeah, my wife's like, I see Brian all the time. I don't think he knows me when I'm not with you.
Really?
I was like, well, he's probably busy working. Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever met her in person.
Well, we've probably been together, but I don't. Yeah, I mean,
I
it
don't
would
think.
probably would be in an event and you were working or something.
Well, if she's listening, I apologize.
What's your wife's name?
She probably won't listen to this. She's not that impressed with me. No, her Mickey.
Mickey.
Yes,
all right.
yes, yes,
all
yes.
right. Well, hopefully she
And
checks
so
this one.
Mickey's sister Kay, she has two sisters. They're a year apart, and is now with Noe Palma. If
I
you know
knew that.
Noe Palma,
I knew that
okay.
because I know Noe as well.
Well, and I can say this openly now because Noe and I are friends, but I fought it every bit of the way. I was like, no, we got one. We only need one musician in the family.
yeah. Right.
And
Right,
but it's
right,
great. I mean, they're happy, and and my wife's a realtor, so she helped them find a house, and then they're together. It's just it's a funny thing. It's like Kansas City's a small town.
Yes,
It
yes,
is.
yeah.
It's for sure.
Yeah.
Noe Palma is on our list as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I volunteer with a lot of firefighters. and
Oh, okay.
His
Yeah.
name comes up. And
I've known Noe for quite a long time, and we kind of have a connection because we're both part Filipino.
Oh, I didn't know that
I'm a
about
quarter.
you.
He's half. I think he's half, and I'm a quarter. So
Yeah,
my
so-
grandmother.
So my buddy used to drum for Neil McCoy, and I'm on the tour bus, and I'm all excited to meet Neil. He's like, you know Noe, and I was like, oh, come on, man, I don't want to. But he's Filipino, so yeah, they had that connection
Okay,
and
yeah.
whatnot, and so it was kind of funny though. I tell that story because I was all excited that I'm on the bus and I'm in, and the first thing he asked about is Noe.
right.
Yeah.
Dang.
You're from Kansas City. You must see him all the time.
Right. Gosh. Well, let's go back, Brian.
Yes.
Let's go back.
Yeah, I mean, how you went to high school, as you mentioned earlier, with Justin Collette and Scotty McBee. So that was in Lee Summit then,
Yep.
right? So when you obviously had been playing music before. When did you start learning? When did you do singing, playing an instrument? How did all that happen, and how old were you, and who pushed you to do that?
Yeah, this is fun because I never get into this in interviews because people know the brand that I put out now, and they do not, and it's purposeful. I hide it.
Yeah, okay, well,
but it's okay because that's what this is kind of about. This podcast, and I have great respect for all the guys I've worked with and came up with. And but back to your original question, I was one of those people that 100% knew what I wanted to do since birth.
Really?
I mean, my parents have reel-to-reel recordings when I couldn't even talk and I was singing into a microphone, and it was just my reasons have changed. I've evolved, which I think is really important. I really wanted to be famous, and I wanted to be Michael Jackson. I wanted to be Prince. I wanted to be George Michael. We all know what happened to all of them. And my point in that is, with age and wisdom, I realized that wasn't going to bring me happiness, being famous. A lot of people were miserable that were famous. Yeah. And we can get to this later, but country music was always in my life. And I resisted it a lot because, like, my dad, he sang a hobby with my uncle. And my uncle played guitar, and he was a chemist by trade, which made he was very left brain mathematical, like many musicians are. I am not. I'm way the other way. I'm like more the poet, creative type, and I always need somebody in the band that can communicate both because I don't read music, anything like that. It's just not the way I think, But I always knew what I wanted to do, and I think it was like junior high. So I took guitar lessons. I'd be way better if I would have stuck with them. But back to what I just said, it was like, it didn't translate in my brain. It was like math to me, especially when you're learning scales and no. And I'm like, no, I want to be a rock star.
Right.
But had I stuck with that, I would have been way better. Thankfully, I surround myself with great musicians, and they cover the solos, But by junior high, I mean, I was definitely looking for a band. And I think Justin was, as you know, very charismatic, especially then, because I was actually shy. I mean, and I think a lot of front people are that way. I'm naturally an introvert. I've learned to network, and through the business, you either have to have somebody strong representing you, or you have to figure out how to do that. But But I think most front people who are have strength and performance, that's where they get that out, And so I remember when COVID happened, one of my buddies who's more of an extrovert, like he's life of the party, always out doing things. He's like, "Oh, you got to hate this, man. You're trapped at home and, you can't go out." And I was like, "Oh, this is heaven." As long as I can get by and pay my bills and get through this. Oh no, I love just staying home. And then when everything kind of started opening back up, and it was like, we got to start our show at 10 o'clock. I've been going to bed at 8:30.
Oh, hey, gosh.
But it was worth it. I mean, once you get on stage, if that's what you're meant to do, it just, the switch goes off and it's good. And we happened to be playing at the Levee when they took away the mask mandate, and it was like the Roaring 20s. I mean, it was just because everyone was like, they never heard music before. And it's unfortunate that it takes that kind of event, but I remember in 9/11, Mellencamp played right after that, and I'm a Mellencamp fan, and he said that he played for a crowd and it was like they'd never heard music before.
Right.
And, these heavy events occur, and it gives you perspective. It would be great if we could just go through life and have that perspective anyway.
Speaking of COVID, I remember running into you January at, it was still Kansas Hall, and you said to me, "Hey man, it's going to be a great year."
Right before it happened?
That was January 2020, and I've always remembered that. I'm like, Dad, don't ever say that again.
That was me. I jinxed the whole thing. Well, I remember talking to my
Drew's
wife.
Fucking fault, everybody. Fuck.
I was like, this thing's happening in China, and she doesn't like the drama of the news. Like, I read it all, and I tell her, and she's like, I don't even want to hear it. But I was like, I wonder if this is going to affect us ever, this thing that's going on.
Right.
And I was downstairs in the plaza at whatever it was called, where Reverse used to be. I played there, Parkway. Was that Parkway Social? But anyways, downstairs they had a DJ, and I can't remember if I played that night, but everyone was just on top of each other, dance, and then bam, it was closed the next day. Everything was done. Yep. And so at this point, I had Trey Schuster as my drummer, who you know,
of course,
who's financial guy. So he helped me through all of the process of figuring my business out and getting by. And thankfully, like a lot of the corporate clients I had would hire me to play at their homes. And I have one in particular where I told him he got me more business than a booking agent, because he's married now. His girlfriend at the time had this party in Mission Hills, and they're all on blankets spread out because the whole
social
COVID thing.
distancing.
But they start drinking their wine. They get closer, and everyone's just dying to hug each other.
Yeah. Right.
But from that, it was like one thing after another, and because they couldn't go out, it actually helped my business on the private event side because people would bring me in.
Yes.
and we do a lot of that. So I went off on complete tangent from your initial question.
No,
that's fantastic.
that's great.
This is what we're all about. It's just going off on
Right.
tangents.
Right.
That's it. That's
But
what
yes,
we like.
I always knew what I wanted to do. Junior high, high school. So Justin kind of approached me, and honestly, I would have never done any of that, the band, the stuff, the direction, had he not sort of pushed me. I have to give him. I have to give him credit for that.
Okay, yeah.
A lot of things I will not give him credit for.
He's very, I bet he was, I know exactly what he
We
said.
ran into him
Come
at
on.
Knuckleheads, right?
Yes.
And he texted you.
Yes, he did. He told me that you wanted to. This is a while.
Right.
Okay. It's like Brian wants to have you on this podcast. I was like, okay. When Justin says first of all, I never hear from him unless he wants something.
Right,
Secondly,
right,
I'm like, this may never happen. He may just and he will literally, if I'm talking to him, it'll just stop. He won't say bye. I mean, it could be a conversation on the phone. He'll be hang on, and he never comes back. And the reason I think we talked is you guys were at Knuckleheads, and I.
Yes.
So I got invited to the Stretch was opening for Warrant, and I didn't watch Warrant because I had two places I had to be because I had a friend from Nashville come in, so I went to his show. But I saw Bullet Boys. Yeah, and I do think that they're underrated.
Gosh.
Oh,
I like,
was that at the High V
and that's
Center?
That was
No,
at
it was-
Grinders.
Okay.
Wasn't it?
Oh,
no, it was Uptown.
Uptown. Okay.
Yeah, but Stretch was
right.
opening, and I was just so impressed by it. I mean, Mark still has that frontman thing going, and he still has his chops vocally. And I've always been. It took me till midlife to figure this out, what it is I like about these different bands. But even back, like the glam bands, I think what I always migrate toward is the blues thing. And they had that, like Faster Pussycat had that, you know, the guitars.
Right,
and I didn't realize what I was picking up on until kind of later in life.
Interesting.
And it's not far off from the country thing I do, that crossover blues rock kind of a deal. Yeah. And LA Guns, same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got that.
Gosh,
the
you're
grooves.
kind of an 80s dude.
Well, I like all those bands, and those particular bands have that blues, and they have the
They
space.
do.
They have the
But
space.
Cinderella's kind of got the
Very
blue.
much,
Yeah.
very much, yeah. And he's totally doing that now as his solo career. But it's kind of like it's the groove and the space and the which is what AC/DC does too. But it took me a long time to hear it because the voice is so up front. Like you miss and the cult. The Cult's one of my favorite bands.
Wow.
It's just so
Okay.
good. But it's
Gosh.
that pocket
Fire.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know what
That's the only
Justin
singing.
said. He's, come on, Rockstar. Come on, Rockstar.
Yeah.
We're going to form a band, Rockstar. Come on.
And
That's Justin.
he's with who's he with?
He's not in a band right now.
Who was
He was
with?
the Rock Gods, right?
No,
Was he
he
doing
was
that?
he was in Rock Gods, and then he was in Poison. He
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of was his own
Nobody
guy. He
Yeah,
he
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
floated around, but
Right.
But the last band he was in was the Rock Gods, and he did I think Bon Jovi,
Yeah.
and probably played drums in that
yeah,
band too.
yeah.
So yeah.
Kind of moved around, yeah.
And then of course he took a promotion at his day job. So that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well,
What's,
I don't really see him around much. Yeah.
What's a teenage Scotty McBee like? What was that like?
A prodigy. I mean, he
Just
was
a
amazing.
non-smoking Scotty McBee.
I'm the one that brought him in because I was like, this guy's amazing.
Yeah.
And
He
I
is. He's a prodigy.
I was the band leader, so I had to fire people, which was terrible. And I still remember. I mean, the guy that I fired was a great guy, like a great guitar player too. But I was like, we're gonna have the Scotty guy, and then you got Justin just telling Scotty what to do. The dynamic there. It's just crazy. We have so many stories. I mean, we could probably write a book, and we never will.
Right.
But I mean, those are high school memories, and I have so much respect for Scotty. And Scotty is just, like I said, he's like a prodigy. This guy's just amazing. He can do all these things.
He can.
But you also have to figure out how to communicate with him. And
Right.
he was very skinny, and he wore the shiny pants with us, and did his thing on stage. And
Great.
Justin coached him a little bit in that direction, I think, because we switched guitars at the time. I can't remember, And then this other thing that you mentioned, Rain, was more of an art-driven project. That was our indie film.
Okay. All right.
So
same guys?
So when you formed the original band with Justin, or the band with Justin and Scotty, was that an original band then, or was it covers?
It was both, because there's a backstory to that, because in high school we almost had a deal. Justin and I were in Chicago, and we found this manager at a show, and she had worked with all these major acts, and so she brought in Billy Dior from DeMalls to produce us, and they flew to Kansas City. We won this contest with City Spark. Remember that studio?
I'm not familiar.
It was Midtown. It was like close to Crown Center, long time ago. And anyways, so we did this. I can't remember. It was like voting or CD purchases, whatever it was. We won the deal. They fly in, do this thing, and then they went to shop us in L.A. and New York. And she had all these big label contacts. And had it happened for us, it would have been the worst thing ever, because that was grunge was coming in.
Oh, sure.
And
okay.
They were talking about, well, we're kind of looking for this thing like Jane's Addiction meets Soundgarden, but grunge hadn't really happened yet. But whatever it was, they said was like the parents of grunge, where it ended up, kind of thing. And that would have been it wouldn't have been authentic to me, number one. But for me, the balance between what I do now and what I did then was the performance, like the entertainment value. And those bands that we were doing had that, and that's what I was good at as a front guy. Right. Whereas the grunge thing was a different thing.
Oh yeah.
And it all happened for the best. But my understanding of this was when the meetings started happening, we were top priority, but then she had 10 others in the bag to put out. But knowing what I know about the recording industry now, the A&R guy would have got fired, just like so many friends I have. And, we would have lost the deal, and we probably would have killed each other anyway. We practically did that just in town, not even being on a tour bus together. Yeah.
Gosh. So then, what was the 90s like for you?
So finding myself, I stayed in town, which I don't regret, but I wasn't happy. I didn't study any music. I did advertising and marketing, which I use way more in my life, but I actually have a passion for that. I love the design aspect. So I'm one of those artists that we have to wear all the hats now. I edit video, I shoot video, I do graphic arts, all the things that I've had, and now recording, a lot of things that I had to learn that I'm not necessarily naturally good at. So that was that whole process. So I went to UMKC, stayed in town, and studied like advertising marketing. And those they weren't wasted years, but I was finding myself, I was not happy. Mm-hmm. And then
were you playing at the time?
Yeah, not much. So I started DJing because I'm like, I got to find a way to make money, and that's music and not cool DJing. Let me tell you.
Yeah. No, so mobile DJ, Disc Jockeys Incorporated.
A lot of casinos when they were smokier, and people would drop oxygen tanks on my foot, and elderly people would cuss me out because I didn't give them a deck of cards. So we would do trivia and this and that. And so I'm like, in my mind though, I was focused. I'm like, this is the behind the music. This is the behind the music stories I'm going to tell someday. Here we are telling it right now.
There we go.
Not exactly what I was expecting, but so I went through this whole thing, and then I ended up at Worlds of Fun singing. So one of my best buddies, Matt Lewis, he's in Vegas now, and he was an Elvis. Well, he is an Elvis. He tries not to be as much, but they pay him a lot of money, so he goes and does Elvis. But now he's more of a booking agent, puts shows in theme parks and things like that. So
nice.
So he was like royalty at Worlds of Fun. Like, had been there since we were 16. So here I am, 20, 21, go in there, and I'm like, all right, I got a job performing. And I loved it so much because it was like, this is what I missed out on. This is the college experience, because you got girls that were coming in, they had to be 15 to 16, and they're up to their 30s, and there's parties every night. And I'm like, oh man, this is what college was supposed to be. And so I think I did it for maybe 3 years, and I made myself leave. I'm like, I'm getting my fix. Like, this is what I want to do, and I'm getting a crowd, and I'm like, so Matt, who I previously mentioned, he had moved on when we overlapped 1 year, so I was like a top dog there. Like, everyone treated me really well, and it helped me because he was, already there, and we were buddies. In fact, I almost didn't get the job because he told the guy that was in charge that I wasn't really his friend, and everybody got the phone call that they got the job, and they didn't call me and they couldn't get a hold of him, because he's kind of a jokester. And they're like, oh, you're not really friends with him. But then I got the job. It worked great. But then Jason Kane, if you know who that is.
Not off. I don't. Yeah.
He's an acoustic guy. That's his stage name. He and I worked together. Mm-hmm. So we got to know each other, and we went over and played in Europe and kind of toured around.
So this is in the 90s. Are we still in the 90s? Or
2000s?
Yeah, let's see. Mid to late 90s.
Okay.
And then we're backpacking and doing it. And the person that kind of helped me, she was she's really into Robbie Williams, and I loved Robbie Williams. And so she set us up with all these different places, but she had a home in Ibiza. So we played over there and did these acoustic shows and moved around. So this is, I guess, the time that I'm finding myself. And I have to give him credit because he was doing the acoustic thing and making a living at it. And I was doing this miserable DJ stuff. And he's like, you can do this. And so you probably have to learn a few more songs because I was stubborn. I was doing a lot. And I do. Thankfully, something rare about me, I think, is I write mainstream stuff that I get away with playing in all my cover shows. So I play a lot of originals, and it hasn't got me fired because people come in and respond.
Your originals are good. They're
Thank
good stuff, man.
Thank you. So he's like, you got to learn a few more. So I did, and then I got into it, and then it was like I was living high on the hog because I was making a great living. I was single.
Overseas.
This is when I'm back here. I didn't make a living over there.
Okay.
Europe, we were definitely in the hole in Europe.
All right. What'd you pick up from that time in Europe, though? Is there anything you learned about being a performer, as a solo artist?
Well, I can tell you a through line in my life, and I love Kansas City, but they appreciate you other places more. And I have a lot of friends that will go to Nashville with me, and I'm like, you won't believe me until we get there. But they treat me a lot better than they do in Kansas City.
Really? Like I'm assuming you mean like in very subtle ways that you wouldn't necessarily like.
Yeah, they get it, and I think I'm stubborn, but it's taken me a long time to learn because I made a choice to stay in KC, and for a long time I was going to Nashville so much that people thought I lived there, and that was part of the strategy is breaking in the networking, the co-writing, that kind of thing. But I was stubborn about it, but I do realize you're just appreciated being from somewhere else a little bit more most of the time. And the thing about Nashville, when I would walk into a restaurant, part of my brand is the way I look. And people, they don't know if you wrote 10 number one songs or, they're just used to dealing with it. It's not a big deal there. But they have a certain respect for the arts in general. And it's hard to create that when people can see you every night.
Sure.
But I will say this about Kansas City. One of the things that I love is it's spread out enough that it's like touring because you're in front of different audiences in the same metro area. Yeah. And it keeps getting, in my opinion, better with the Chiefs and all the stuff we're doing, the growth.
Like World Cup next year.
The World Cup's huge. So there's just not a lack of work if you're willing to work.
Yeah. So like I don't know population-wise how large Nashville is, but it sounds like it's a much smaller footprint. And so it's kind of to your point, you know.
Yeah, and it's a choice. I didn't want to go there. There's a couple of things I could have done. I could have gone there and done the Broadway thing, and I dabbled in that plate. But most of the time, I would stay Midtown, do the more artist-driven thing and the songwriting circles and that kind of thing, which is the other thing I could have done is stay in town and try to get a publishing deal and write every day. And the way they do it there, it's like a 9 to 5 thing every day.
Yeah.
And you finally get a hit. And I mean, I have some mentors in the business in Nashville that actually validated my decisions after the fact that, maybe this is the way to go, the way I have chosen.
Yeah, sure.
And there's never, despite all the challenges, there's never been a better time to be an independent artist in the history of music.
Sure.
And
I see I see that, but doesn't it feel hard? Like, how do you stand out? How do you get noticed? Because everybody can do everybody. Like even us, what we're doing right now with our podcast, our little podcast. Everybody's got a podcast too. So it's one of those things. Like, what do you do to,
Right.
Well, for me, it's like, we could talk about the human side of it, but like the business side of it, it's branding and why that is so important. And branding to me is not just branding like artists are like, oh no, it's not like you're talking business, but it's who you are. It's being authentic to who you are and then finding your people. So it's more like, for a lack of a better comparison, it's like magazines, meaning you're finding your special interest group now. And Taylor Swift, when she happened, was already an enigma because the business isn't built to do that anymore. The people that are holding on to the old business model are the executives in the record company who don't want to lose all their perks. But what I think you're going to find is more moving forward working musicians that are making a living, but they're not Taylor Swift.
Sure.
But there's more room for that. And it's a constant challenge. You're right, because there's way more noise.
Yes.
And so there are advantages, as bad as record labels are and were, there are advantages to having that gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
But frankly, if that was the only model, I probably wouldn't have the hope that I have that still like tomorrow something could completely change for me, you know, and my music's out there to go viral or whatever. And then the flip side of that is new artists that are coming up, like they have to go viral. They're not going to get signed anymore unless something's happening online. And what the problem with that is, many of them have no back catalog, no experience playing shows.
Yeah,
That's missing, and that's unfortunate for us as an audience, but it's also unfortunate for them. I mean, that's what made me who I am. I mean, to go into these clubs and have to earn people that you walk in and they don't necessarily like you, that's a skill set for sure. And you learn over time how to do that. And I also think that's why I've found my lane over time, but I'm a crossover artist because I love so many different things. But I also think that helps you gain fans, because it's like, he, like the guys, he's kind of, I don't know, he's got this pretty boy look. I'm not sure about him, but he's playing good old country music. It's like, you got to knock those walls down and find out what people relate to. But the bottom line that I would tell any young artist is, like, just be authentic to who you are.
Yeah. I remember, the first time I saw you, you were more rock and roll. And then you crossed over to country. And you mentioned earlier that country has always been there. Like, what kind of facilitated that decision? Like, I'm going to go become country, versus those early years when it was rock and roll more oriented. Like, was it always there, or were you, like, how did that pan out?
So I grew up, interestingly, on, like, people always ask about what was in your house. And my parents I feel like a lot of kids I knew, for lack of a better term, they listen to kind of like hippie music. My parents listened to Motown and Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings,
George Jones,
and George Jones. My dad sang George Jones, Conway Twitty.
Yeah.
So I had that, and that's who I am now. Even if you see me at an acoustic show, there's those soul blues elements, but I always had that country thing, and everyone and I had a lower voice, and I'm trying to sing all these rage and rock songs that are not built for me at all. Like, I would be so frustrated, like those high school things, because I wanted to be able to sing all those songs. I couldn't sing them. I tried, but that melding kind of was happening. And then when I was coming up, people were constantly just hitting me with, why don't you try country? Why don't you try country? And then Keith Urban came and Gary Allen. They're like, they're pretty rock and roll, and they have your kind of look. And I just resisted it. Like I said earlier, maybe this was before the interview when we were talking, but my dad dabbled in, like, hobby singing, and he did a lot of George Jones stuff, things like that. And so that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a rock star, and I was like, stay away from that. Yeah. And then it just kept happening and happening. And then when Power and Light came in, we were one of the opening deals, and then PBR opened, and they picked us up, and they're like, well, you're going to have to do a little more country.
Okay.
And I think everyone, including my own band, was baffled when we went into Waylon Jennings, because it was like, for me, that was my zone, man. I just, like, that's where my range is, and Johnny Cash and all that stuff. And it was comfortable, like, it was right. And it's still rock and roll to me, especially those guys. They were, back in that time, they were the Outlaws.
Yeah.
Right.
So
the Power and Light, that debuted in 07, 08. Yeah. So that was about when it happened.
You're a historian. So
he is.
I didn't know. So then, so we played before, I want to say Rascal Flatts was playing, and then Dave McQuitty found out about me. You know Dave?
Okay, yeah, I know, yeah.
So this was I'm not going to get into the whole story, but it wasn't all positive. But one of the good things that came out of that was he had a songwriting friend in Nashville who had written Praying for Daylight, Rascal Flatts, and George Strait, Reba McEntire, big hits. So he gets me a co-write with this guy. And honestly, I was way too green to be there. And I do believe it affected me long-term, because I tend to like to write by myself. Mm-hmm. And the Nashville way is to co-write. Mm-hmm. I do better on my own most of the time, and I know it's kind of a mind block, because I went there and I was fish out of water. Right. But we spent 2 days. We came up with a song, but that whole deal went real bad. That was like the one good thing about it. But then I was in that Nashville lane. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I can do this.
Right.
And when I was there, and then I got this deal with Trace Atkins.
Wow, neat.
Where it was like a jingle thing, and I wrote it, and I got to hang out with Trace. And this all happened early in this whole deal. Then I end up at the Bluebird Cafe, and a lot of the people that were in my community there have gone on to write top 10 songs and were friends and things like that. So it's like, this is my deal. And I just, I kept going. And at one point I was there like part of every month, and people kind of got the feeling I was a familiar face,
right,
and kind of knocking those doors down. But at some point after all this goes on, my mind kind of changes where I'm not chasing the deal anymore. And that's what I was doing when I was first in Nashville. But Nashville has a very specific way of doing things. And it's a business plan that works. But, for a lot of artists, writers, it does take compromise. And a lot of the songs that people are like, I can't believe they're writing this other song about a truck and blah, blah. Well, the writers feel exactly like you do. Yeah. But they have families, and it's a business, and so
it's hard to be your own. It's hard to walk your own path. Then in Nashville, you've got to play the game, and stay in the lane, so to speak.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm more open to it than probably a lot of people. I wasn't closed off to it, but I'm more of an artist type, like development. I have something to say. I'm not just. I'm a songwriter, but I have a message that's me.
Right.
And that's the old album rock model.
Yeah.
And that's so much what influences me a lot too, is classic rock. So when people ask what I do, especially in the country world, I'm like, honestly, I'm really heartland country rock, which is like Bob Seger, Bruce Springsteen, Mellencamp. I'm like, a lot of that's in there. But that's who I am. And one of the things I have to say I like about country is people bitch and complain about, oh, that's not country. Well, it's a genre that goes in a lot of different ways. Hip hop, pop, all these different things. And I kind of like that. It's like, you make your own way. And I always tell people that are complaining about it, I'm like, in this day and age, you can find anything you want. It's all out there streaming.
Hey,
so quit complaining about stuff you don't like.
I mean,
that's a perfect example. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you've built a nice little category, not little category. You built a nice category of your songs. That's for sure. I put the flag out front for you just because of American Dreamers.
Oh, thank you.
I've listened to that song quite a few times. It's a great song.
Yeah.
And I like when you did it for the NFR.
Yeah. So that song opened a lot of doors for me.
Yeah.
And the first one was the NFR, which was huge. That was a 20.
That was neat.
20,000 really plus sold out arena.
You had the servicemen coming up behind you and stuff. Was that your idea to do that?
Well, let me tell you how that happened. The quick story is the buddy I mentioned before that moved to Vegas. Mm-hmm. He had a falling out with them because he used to provide like Elvis showgirls and long story, but divorce, went with the wife. So he didn't talk to him anymore. And in this case, he was right. It was like kind of a bad deal. So they have the nights filled and they're booking it out of Los Angeles. And they're all pretty big stars. Lainey Wilson played the night after me. Yeah. And she had her own night. I had my own night. I mean, I was the headliner essentially of the music. Mm-hmm. So they call him because he's like boots on the ground Vegas, and they know that he's an agency. And they're like, hey, do you got a guy that's got like a America Patriot? Oh, I got a guy. Not even knowing. So he calls me, and because we had been talking about it, because I have this song called The Bull. And we're like, this would be perfect for this rodeo
How
deal.
recently was this again?
Within the last couple of years.
Okay, a couple years.
So this is recent. This is kind of where I am now. And so he gets this call, and then he calls me, and I said, well, you're in luck. Because one of my most popular songs that I play, I have a T-shirt for it. It's so popular. And it's about bringing people together, which is a missing element of this patriotism thing in my mind, because I put humanity above politics. And I was like, I planned on recording it, but some other stuff got in front of it. But here's what I got. I got a kind of crappy demo. I got some video. So he sends them this video of me in acoustic. We shot really high on the price. And he's like, he's going to have to fly in. I'm like, it's not going to happen. Next day, sign the contract. So I'm like, shit. So I booked a flight to Nashville because I wanted to get it recorded before, and most of my stuff I recorded in Nashville. So I got it done so that it would be out to stream. because it was on television and everything too.
Yeah.
So that night was it was amazing. I mean, everything about it was super cool.
Yeah.
A little bit of vocal challenges, which I've learned come with Vegas. At least for me, it's so dry there. So the few times I've done shows there, as soon as I land, I buy a cheap humidifier and put it in the hotel.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Because this you were doing in like an arena, a bull riding arena,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean,
So-
talk about dry and dirty.
Yeah, I'm breathing in some
Man.
allergens too. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. And
Yeah.
So whose idea was it to bring the servicemen on stage?
Okay, so that was already planned.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
when we found this out, a lot of them would have a band, and I could have brought a band in. And usually when I do destination shows, I hire guys in that town, depending, especially always in Nashville. I think there's plenty of people, and Vegas is the same way. So they said, this is how we're doing it. We're going to bring on, and I'm like, oh yeah, total chill factor. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And then I knew that's another reason it needed to be recorded, because I had to use tracks because there was no band. So the vocal was live and I'm playing, but which is the case in a lot of televised stuff anyways, but
how it goes.
But they come
Yeah.
up, and it was an amazing experience. One story I remember for me personally is the stage had a projection thing on it, and they didn't do that in sound check. So there's like jets flying, and I was getting doing my thing like I do, and I was getting total vertigo and about to pass out.
Yeah.
But that whole thing happened, and then from there, I get this call from a buddy of mine that he was not a close friend, but he was in the hospitality industry, and usually I do these VIP parties maybe once, twice a year where I'll release something, and I did it at the Fontaine, and he was in charge there and I had a friend who was he's a bartender there, and he made me this connection. He says, hey, he finds me on Facebook. He goes, I haven't seen you in a while. It turns out he's like one of the best dart players in the world.
Oh, hey.
Didn't know this about him.
Man.
He had not, so he was doing that full time. He's like, hey, I don't know if you know, but I'll be back at Madison Square Garden. I wondered if you wanted to do that song at Madison Square Garden. I'm like, let me check.
Okay.
Let me see.
Yeah. Right.
So it was
Please
an
hold.
opportunity to do it 3 different times on international television. So I flew to New York City and did that song. And it was essentially, I didn't know anything about the darting community. And obviously that's the biggest one in the United States.
Oh, so
'cause
this
it's
is
very
a big dart
European.
tournament.
Yes, so it's like the Masters.
Gosh.
And he represents America, but he happens to be Dutch. So he goes by the Dutch Dragon. He wears American flag shirt though. And so I'm up there, and they already don't like America that much. Now we got an America song, an American. So there were some comments, and I didn't end up. My schedule wouldn't allow me to do it this year. I was like, it might even be more controversial this year, but that's a whole side thing. But it's when he's coming down through the arena, and it's very much like a soccer match in the sense that they dress up
Yeah,
and
right. They're in the
craziness.
crowd. Sure.
But also they have an announcer who was this great guy I got to know that's like,
John.
let's get ready to rumble
Yeah,
kind of thing.
right.
That's copyrighted. I didn't say it like that.
Yeah. Don't worry. No big deal.
But that style,
Yeah.
and Bring It On and all this stuff. And he was like, oh, it's going to break the internet. And weirdly, I was way less nervous about Madison Square Garden. I have no idea why, but I went out and did my thing, and I didn't realize the reaction I would get. They never had live music. So to them, it was pretty special. And so it wasn't lost on me, but it was great to get that reaction after the fact. So they had different matches. So the second day I came out, and they're on commercial because it's all worked around TV, and the crowd just goes crazy just when I'm walking on stage, and they're like, hey, and I'm like, oh, hey, and I'm just standing there waiting for the camera to come on. So that part was really rewarding. And then, I mean, you guys know, you're in entertainment all the time. I mean, there's the non-glamorous side, like everyone, you fly to New York. Half the time I lock myself in the hotel because I don't want to go out and drink and ruin my voice the night before.
Yeah.
So you're bored a little bit, and you go in these loud bars and you're yelling at each other, whether you're drinking or not, And then the day of the show, all the players are on one side. They gave me this amazing, huge room backstage, but I'm just by myself sitting back there. It's like jail a little bit. So I just bring my phone and set up a tripod and try to do social stuff. And believe me, I did as many reels as I could to go, hey, I'm backstage here at Madison Square Garden. And so both of these shows, it's like in FR, they pick me up in an Escalade. I got security going on at the back. And then the next day you fly home and you play for 4 people. I mean, that is the reality of the business.
That is the reality of things.
And the hardest part is just getting through the dips, the high parts. That's
The
what
ebbs
everyone
and
sees.
flows,
Especially in this world, the Instagram world, we all see the highlight reel.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Talk about Dreamers Do and the what is it?
Dream Factory.
Dream
Yeah.
Factory.
Yeah.
Dream Factory. I volunteer for a handicap group.
Yeah.
Dream Factory is a big deal. I've been part of that back
Yeah.
in the 80s. I went to Hawaii with a friend because of that. So that's big. And just talk about that's important. And I think that just lends to the humanity side of you. You got a big humanity side of you that I'm seeing here. And it's great. So just talk about that.
And I think that's part of finding out who I was and being authentic. So like I write, for those people that are not familiar with what I do, I write a lot of positive message, follow your dreams, anything is possible songs. And I am being so truthful to you when I tell you that's who I am. That is not, I mean, I get how that could be corny to some people or hard to write because it's like, oh, this is, but it comes to me because I believe it. If you told me, Drew, I was out my back porch and I figured out how to fly, I would be like, I believe you. It's like mind over matter. That's how I am. And I love kids. So in the midst of this, I have a single daughter. She just turned 7 and she's our world. We tried for a while and we had some trouble. And when she came in, of course, she's completely spoiled. But so the first song I had written similar to that was Variety. I'd done Variety Children's Charity.
Yes.
And
right.
They bridge the gap with insurance companies for mobility equipment. And they've done so much more since then. I mean, all these playgrounds, and they do amazing work. Deb there is an amazing person. And I started doing shows for them. And the event eventually ended up at Midland Theater, their big event.
Nice.
And it has since moved and they've done different things. But they had a girl named Danielle. Her dream was to act and sing, and she lived with cerebral palsy. And they asked if I would sing with her. And I said, absolutely. And they're like, I said, what song do you want me to do? Well, whatever you want to do. Well, I'm like, I'm writing one. And so that was one of the hardest songs I ever wrote because there's this whole element of people looking at you like, how do you know what it's like? What are you talking about? And I've realized since then that is the gift of writing, is putting into words what people are feeling, whether it directly is happening to you or not. But what I also found is finding common ground to make it more authentic. And what I learned from these kids, I got letters from the parents. They let me look at the letters that the parents sent to the charity and the organization. I hung out with the kids, and I realized how much we had in common, that they have dreams just like I always did, big dreams.
Yeah.
And they didn't want people telling them they couldn't do that.
Right.
And also, at least me, like growing up, I would say the people around me that had good intentions, if someone was special needs, it's like, don't look at them, don't, and that's not what they want. They want to be just, they are like everybody, they're just dealing with this body thing, and amazing kids, first of all, huge inspiration. But I didn't want to mess it up. I didn't want to say the wrong thing. But when I spent more and more time with them, I was like, we're all dreamers, and it's a choice how we look at the world. So that song became We Choose Living. And so I wrote that song and we sang it, debuted it together. She knew the words better than me, which was pretty awesome. Recorded it in Nashville. And
great.
So did she go out to Nashville to record it with you?
No. I recorded it. The girl I recorded with was one of the girls in my Bluebird workshop, and her husband toured with Luke Combs. Like the only reason he's not more famous is his career when he got signed and started blowing up was COVID, like right in the middle.
Oh,
and so she was touring with Martina McBride. So that's how good she is. And but all that stopped, during that. But anyway, she's still on there, and she's in the middle of everything, and she has several cuts too. But she was very young but I knew when I met her at Bluebird, maybe I should have been an A&R guy, because I find these people and and I'm like, I just migrate toward them, and they're the ones that have done things, and it wasn't just, they just had that vibe. So anyways, that's who sang it with me, and she's still on that. That was my first Nashville recording, actually.
Oh, okay. It's a good one.
So that, and then moving forward, so Bob Pennington, if you know who this is.
We know Bob.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. Penny Lane.
Bob and I are great friends now, but he was around a lot and taking pictures. And he's like, can we use that song for Dream Factory? Because it says, and I'm like, yeah, you can. I said, I still own the rights to the song, but I would rather write one. But this went on and on and on. And he's like, one night we were doing a show and he's like, hey, yeah, so our events, blah, 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 coming up. We need to write the song. I was like, oh, shit. Okay. So I knew the hook. I was like, dreams don't just dream, dreams do.
Yeah.
They actively, and I'm like, this is something. And in this case, I was ready. I'd been through that other thing. And I was like, I'm going to find the common ground in this. And I'm writing it to the parents just as much as the kids. And I have a daughter now, which changed everything.
Yeah.
Because it was not lost on me that things could turn on a dime.
They sure can.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that song, I mean, it meant so much to me because there were a lot of tears writing it. I mean, it was very authentic to me. But that day I said, all right, Bob, I'm going to lock myself in. I think I spent 10 hours one day, break for lunch, but we're pounding it. Nothing. And backing up to that first song that I said was so hard to write, we were on vacation in Mexico, and I'm like decompressing, and I'm like, I got to get this done for the Midland, and I was drinking some tequila in Mexico, which is stronger, and the sun's a little hotter, and I'm like, in the middle of this thing, I was like, hey, there's never been a song written from a mechanical bull's point of view.
Hey,
I wrote that whole song, and that's why. And that happens to me a lot. Like, I'm under pressure for one deadline, and I went over and I wrote this song, and that thing came so quick. It just spit it out in Mexico.
Is that the song that's got landed in Kansas City? And
yes.
Get fucked.
Bucked.
Bucked. Oh, it's bucked. I thought it was fucked. I've been singing for like 2 weeks. I've been singing it that way.
You can sing
My
it that
bad.
way, but I sing it at family shows. Sometimes I can. But yeah, you get bucked by the bull.
You do. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, but back to the other thing.
Sorry about that.
So I don't know, but like then it took a while, and I hit it. Like I know when I make a turn, it's like, okay, we're getting there now, and I put it together. I fleshed out a demo, and so that event was at Uptown, and he had that's when he did the, Elton Dan and KCDC and everybody.
Right,
Yes. And so Fast Times opened that show, so they backed me up because Sevens is my primary bass player most of the time, and we played the song, debuted it live that night. And then in the midst of all that, I flew to Nashville again, recorded it, and they're based out of Louisville, so they debuted it for it's not just the Kansas City chapter; it's like their national song. And then we did the music video was pretty amazing. So my daughter's in the video, if you've seen it, and we filmed it out in Tonganazi and the Kane family farm.
Oh,
it's just like a movie set. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So how much has it changed? You said it changed everything, but is living this lifestyle has it become harder to maintain having a daughter, especially one who's now she's on 7 years old? I mean, how have you what's it taken for you to maintain that balance, that work-life balance? Yeah. Do you know what I'm getting at?
I do. And I get this question a lot, like, how do you do both? And and she's everything. So, and I think most parents would say that. But for me, it's an easy decision because I want to lead by example, and I want her to know that it's important if she loves something that she should be doing it. And if I were miserable, denying myself that part of my life, I would, in my mind, be less of a good example to her.
It would seep through.
Yes. Yeah. And it is a balancing act because what I do, I do what I love, and I have a great deal of gratitude for that, but it's not all roses. It's like anything, it's hard, it's challenging and frustrating, and it's not traditional in the sense of my schedule and school. It's come up where now I'm missing some things that I don't want to miss, but I'm not on tour constantly either, the way my career is set up. So in some ways, I get to spend more time with her than a lot of dads because I do have a non-traditional schedule. And like in the summertime right now, it's like most of the time during the day. If I'm in town, I'm with her and spending time with her. If she's not, like we have her in summer camp this week, which is I can finally get something done. It's impossible to write with her home and that kind of thing. But there's never been a doubt in my mind that I want to do both because that's who I am, and I want her to see that. And I don't push her in any one direction. Her and her mother, we put things in front of her to let her find what she loves. I'm definitely not a stage parent.
Is she musically inclined at all?
Well, she loves music. She remembers lyrics way better than I do. So, and I'm far more dramatic than her mother, so she got the drama from me. And her mom will be the first person to tell you that. But so I think she'd be a great actress because that's something I dabbled into. Like I had acting classes for a long time, did some indie film, and I could never really get as comfortable as I am in music. Like just where it's about letting go. It's just like you let go on stage and you're in the zone, and I could never get to that level. Probably just because I didn't do it enough. I was still comfort zone kind of situation. But I could see her doing that. But I bring it up a lot. I'm like, because she was thankfully a little behind on the Taylor Swift thing. So when she came through, she wasn't one of the kids going, I gotta go. But she's a little more into her now. And I'm like, do you want to do what your dad does? And she's proud of it. Like if she doesn't, she only usually gets to come to like family oriented shows, but she'll sit up on stage by me. She wears my t-shirt. And but she loves to dance. She loves to do gymnastics, but she doesn't necessarily like to be the center of attention, which is more like her mother. And in pre-K, the teachers found out what I did, and then they had me come in, and I wrote a song with the kids, which was really fun. So they're like, at this point, 4 years old, but we write songs about recess and such. And occasionally I'll do that as a guest speaker, and it's a lot of fun. But knowing what I did, they did this big assembly at the end of the year. So they put her in the front, and there's movement and singing, and she says, I'm not going to do that. She didn't do it. And she asked us to sit in the front. And so everyone else is doing their thing, and her mother and I are like, well, why'd you want us in the front row then? To block people out. So I have to see it.
So nobody could see me.
So, yeah, but she's true to her word for sure. And I mean, I could see it turn. Like I hear her singing in the back and knowing every lyric, when we're driving along. But if you start to give her too much attention, she stops, So she's 7 right now. I mean, so I will never be like someone that pushes her into it, even if that's what she decides she wants to do. And I think most parents in the music business, we love it and you love to see it, but we also know how hard it is, So there are other things that she might do that she might find happiness and contentment in, and that are maybe less hard. And I also see, like, I'm not huge and hugely famous, but I see this a lot in the business where there is a superstar parent, and then the kids, they're like, why don't they quite have it? Well, they don't have that fire necessarily because they always had the money and the notoriety of the parent kind of thing.
Very true. Very true. Does she have a favorite Drew Sick song then?
I think it's probably Dreams Do because she was in the video.
Okay.
There's usually a reason behind it. And then at the end of, so I never know. So she's first grade. She's going into second grade. So at the end of this last year, she's like, yeah, my teacher is going to play your music. And I was like, well, I didn't even know she knew what I did. That's great. That's cool. And she made it sound like it was all her teachers. So on the last day of school, I saw the teacher and I said, hey, thanks for playing my music. Oh, yeah, Josie wouldn't leave me alone about it. She's So they played Dreams Do. And she goes, and you were playing your America song Talking. So they found something on YouTube where I was playing it acoustically or something. And so it's good. She doesn't openly say it, so it's good to know she is proud of me. I had to find out in a secondary way kind of thing. So, but yeah, Dreams Do, I think, is the answer there just because she was in the video.
That's a good one. And my favorite is Not My Problem. I love that song. It's hilarious.
Thank you.
It touches, you know what? There's a million guys that are thinking the same thing.
Yeah, deal with that.
Yeah.
So that's a great live song. I don't do it acoustic a lot, but the band, it just goes like literally, and that's a great feeling. By the first chorus, people have never heard before are yelling, Not My Problem. But I have this buddy, I have all these buddies that have nothing to do with art or music that think they're songwriters. Hey, I got this idea. I'm like, that's a great idea, but you actually sit down and write it. And I don't think he told me it was an idea. He just used to say it all the time. Not my problem. And I'm like, and being a marketing guy, it's like when I start conceptualizing it, I like, could you see that on a t-shirt? Absolutely. 3 words makes sense. And that was one of those ones that just kind of wrote itself because I've seen those types of people. And weirdly, girls love it too because they know those kind of girls. Yeah. But they also, there's a flip side where guys are like that too. And it's like, you finally get over somebody and you pretend like you're over them, but secretly you're checking their Instagram and
Yeah,
hoping they
right.
texted.
Uh-huh.
And then when you finally, it turns to sort of scar tissue, they start coming back around. And they just know psychically somehow you're over them. So they call or show up. And then, so I always introduce that song. I'm like, here's my love advice for you. 3 words you got to tell them. Not my problem. Not anymore. Someone else's problem.
That's great. It's a fun song. It's a funny fun song.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, hey, let's go back because I got a couple things here. We had Captain Craig Hanning on the show.
Yeah.
And
Got some stories about him, yeah.
You know, I think everybody needs...
He's our most watched episode.
Yeah, he is.
He
our
is,
most
wow. Well,
you know, up until now is what I'm thinking.
I hope so.
But really, everybody in Kansas City needs to thank you for giving him the nickname Captain Craig Hanning.
He gave you the credit for coming up with that name.
I don't think that's right.
Oh,
well,
I wish.
Hey,
that's
you
awesome
know
that he
what?
did that.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't think that's right, though. I don't think I came. I mean, I called him that, but boy, we had a tumultuous relationship. We loved each other, but very few musicians that like I've had shouting matches with over the phone and things. But Craig and I were like that. We had these ups and downs. And what I know now compared to then, we played Sandstone Azura like it was a Mix 93 thing. Huge crowds. Like it was a big radio show, like sold out. And it's like less than 2 weeks before the show. And I'm all into like, man, I want all these samples and this and that. So I buy this Roland giant thing. And I'm like, Craig, can you play this? And knowing what I know now, like 90% of the drummers would have never even been able to do it, first of all. And it wasn't even real tracks. He had to like hit these things and he just did it. And it came off great, but testament to how good he is. And with his temperament, I mean, he probably wanted to kill me. But he did it.
And
he's such a great musician.
Over? Like just like the...
Oh, I don't remember. We're both very passionate people.
Okay.
You know, nothing, I wouldn't say it at all if it was something horrible. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we always loved each other, and I don't get to see him very much, but he's a great
out,
drummer, and
yeah.
he's got
I see him occasionally.
he has a
about.
big heart for sure.
Yeah,
He
well,
does.
And he's just a
absolutely.
passionate person. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And he's on the up too, man. He was looking good last time I saw him. He's ready.
He's looking to get back in a
music.
band,
Yeah.
so...
Hey,
Yeah,
I might have to give him a call.
Well,
Yeah.
you know...
So was he just part of the Drew Six band at that point? Or
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, he was for a short window. He was like my go-to guy, and I don't have a full-time drummer right now. That's one of the positions I've had a little bit of trouble with. Like,
Well, there
just
you
getting
go.
into
Hey,
people in and out.
Kansas
So
City
we'll see.
Nights, a podcast.
He said
So
he
you're
told
making
me
music
you heard it
connections.
here.
Right.
He told me. I saw him just the other week. And he's
Yeah.
like, I'm looking to get back. He's lost.
Yeah.
He's looking great.
Right.
You know,
Mean.
he's getting lean. Getting there. He's
Great
on his way.
frame of mind. You know.
But there is something, and I don't know if I missed it. I don't think I ever talked to you directly about this, but somebody told me that you auditioned for Rockstar in Excess. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, that was
And you came close.
It was almost a done deal.
Okay.
That was a heartbreak. That's a good story actually for anyone that does what I do, because I'm not anti those shows. I just don't think they're the best fit for me most of the time.
Right.
I've never been a hater, and especially now, I think they're more of a tool. Like you get in and you can build a crowd, and sometimes they'll give you, you get with a booking agency, creative artists or William Morris, like something bigger that can kick-start your career. But more so now, I feel like a lot of them, the entertainment value is about the judges.
Yeah.
And like when American
Yeah.
Idol started, they had Clive Davis involved, so he builds stars. So like it's just not the same as it was with Kelly Clarkson and
Yeah.
Carrie Underwood, where they're building these stars. Like a lot of times, I think the other thing I think about that, I tend to change subjects real fast. The other thing I think about that is the people that watch those shows aren't necessarily the people that support the career. Like they're music fans, but they think that's the music industry,
Yeah.
because they're sitting at home watching it and what have you. So I'm a huge NXS fan. So my new single that's coming out
Me too. Yep.
Friday,
This is
but I don't know when this is going to debut.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get this uploaded tomorrow.
Okay. So it's kind of a passion song for me because it's got a lot of organic elements, but I hear a lot in excess in it. Like, so I played it. Todd Yar's been with me forever, my lead guitar player.
I know Todd.
And he, I usually run stuff past him. I'm like, how's the sound of it? Like, trust him. And he's like, oh, I'm getting in excess. I'm like, hell yeah, you are. So I remember we did this big show at Voodoo, and one of the actually Voodoo, one of the reviews was like country meets NXS. But like Michael Hutchins was just such a great front guy.
Sure.
And I have a full circle story about that. So don't let me forget this because this is just shows like the universe works in bizarre ways.
It does,
So
yeah.
getting back to Access, but the show. So I was having to drive. I knew people, and this is the way it usually happens. And I've learned this since. So I will tell you some inside information. I had people in LA who made it where I didn't have to go in the cattle call. I went already to
good, yeah.
And I think that's the way it always happens.
Sure, the golden ticket.
Yeah. So that's what was going on. But as it got closer, that was Mark Burnett did that, and they were looking for some drama. So the music industry people really liked me in LA and took me aside and said, maybe, talk about a little drama in your life, or you lived in your car or something. I don't remember exactly what they said, but I wasn't comfortable like that. I mean, I'm not a good con artist in that regard. But I was a surefire fit for that band. I mean, there was only a handful of people that they would have actually picked to front in Excess, like that. And the way it was cast, they, the guy that was on there, Vintage Trouble, that lead singer, he's on there. But he had a mohawk at the time. So you got all these characters that would never have been picked, but make the show entertaining. Extremely talented, but girls, they're probably not going to pick them. So what they were doing, there were probably 2 guys on that would have been contenders. And the one went off, and then they picked JD, which I believe I met in previous years because he was an Elvis impersonator.
Yeah.
And I think he came through town and we actually hung out. But so I'm less than a week away from that show, and I just knew I was going to be on it. But one of the last things they do is they have the casting girl who does Survivor, all the shows, and that's all she's looking for is backstory. And she came in and interviewed me, and I didn't get a great vibe. I mean, I liked her, I just didn't feel like it went great. And the guy that ended up, JD, the guy that won it, said he lived in his van. And I'm like, dude, your eyebrows are nice and waxed, and you're wearing designer jeans. You lived in your van
like Elvis,
for a day. But whatever. I mean, I get it. I get it now, especially. They're looking for this story. But what I didn't know is days before it happened, I didn't make it. And another side story is you also build this song list. And when you're on the show, it looks like you randomly pick a song out of thin air and you're able to walk up and perform it. Reality isn't reality. But me and another guy who did not make it at the end, a guy named Chris Daughtry.
Oh, wow. Gosh.
So he was in the same position as me, almost on the show, and got on American Idol.
Going on American Idol.
After that.
Had his own kind of drama there with that. So.
Yeah. So for me, that was devastating because I loved the band so much. I thought it was such a great fit. Yeah. I don't know in retrospect how well I would have done in that environment, like living in this house doing that. Yeah. I probably would have crumbled. It's just not me.
Right.
I know that now. It's like you got to do what you do. Do I think I would have been a good fit for the band? Absolutely. But I'm just saying that might not have been the avenue.
Right. Yeah.
But then back to the full circle thing. Right. So Andrew Ferris, who wrote the songs and did the stuff with, he ends up hanging around Nashville. So I have this opportunity.
Yeah, he released a country album not too long ago.
He's country. So that's one of the full circle because he's country now. But I opened for Gary Burr and Georgia Middle, and they're married. He's a Hall of Fame songwriter, huge songwriters in Nashville. And Dave, who owns Chicken and Pickle here, is huge fans of theirs. So he brings them in for shows. So I opened and brought in a local crowd. But people didn't know what they're getting because back to the whole thing, like Nashville, they understand songwriting things. Here, they don't realize this person wrote all these songs. But anyway, so totally cool. And Gary's kind of a hard nut to crack. Like he's quiet, and being in Kansas City is different for him. But I had the chance to open for him twice. And so they had a band called Blue Sky Riders with Kenny Loggins. So that tells you their caliber.
Gosh.
And I was there for their first show in Nashville. So, to them, I'm just a Kansas City guy opening for them. And they're like, why were you there? I'm like, this is what I do, But she's really sweet in Georgia, but it took a while for me to kind of get in with him. So by the second show, I see a picture, and he's in the studio where I recorded in Nashville with Andrew Ferris recording. And I'm like, what a full circle moment.
Right.
So I'm like, hey, man, why were you with him in that studio? He goes, well, back at the height of their career, they flew him to Europe to some mansion for a writing retreat. So he's already friends with them. So now he was writing again with Andrew, and they happened to be recording in the same where the majority of my songs were recorded in Nashville.
There's
We Choose Living was done.
Whole other world in writing. in
I've heard.
writing
I've
music.
heard. Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I've thought. I mean, you were. He didn't say this when we interviewed him, but John Michaels told me all about. You know, John.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
Because his daughter recorded. You know,
Marianne, yeah.
And you told me all about the Writers' Row in Nashville, like this whole series of houses along just off Broadway. Is that correct? Or?
Yeah. Well, yeah. This Music Row's like,
Music
and that's
Row.
where all the offices are homes. Yeah.
Yes,
and that's
they're
close to Vanderbilt, like so in Midtown. And yeah, and he knew the drummer from Brothers Osborne, which I kind of know a little bit too. Great guy. But yeah, so they were down there. I think they recorded in his studio because he has a home studio too and whatnot. But yeah.
You've
Good people.
met a
Good
lot of people.
Yeah.
Who's what's the biggest shocker one that you?
Yeah. Who left you starstruck?
Right.
Well, you know, that's the other weird thing is like I'm a fan first for sure. And I don't get to go to so many shows because I'm always doing my thing. But one of a really big one for me was Las Vegas. I wrote songs for a song for the arena football team when we had one here. And so the ownership group went to Vegas because the Super Bowl is called Arena Bowl. And at one point, you know, Gene Simmons had a team. He was not there, but John Elway had a team. And he was, I'm proud to say, every bit of the jerk I thought he was going to be.
Really?
Oh yeah. He was not cool.
Really? Was it just a Kansas City Denver thing, or was this him and him?
No,
and
him
of
with
itself?
everybody. He didn't even know where I was from.
Okay.
So, but I got to hang out with all these, you know, a lot of NFL guys were involved. So I had a buddy that was involved with the management of that team, and I'm like, can I come, you know, with the song? Well, John Bon Jovi had a team. So I hung out with him for days.
John Bon Jovi.
Yes. So for me, I get there, I fly in, it was at MGM, and I'm like, do you think I'll maybe get to meet him on this thing? And they're like, well, there's a owners meeting right now. And I got my CD, like demo.
Oh, no.
Ready to go. CD.
You're
Compact
gonna be that
disc.
guy.
And interestingly enough, like when I first went to Nashville, and this was a long time ago, I brought stuff on a memory stick, and I thought it was the most brilliant thing ever because I'm like, you just put it in your computer, you don't have to carry anything around. And nowadays, mostly you just set up a Dropbox or streaming for them or whatever, but same difference. But I got made fun of mercilessly because I was like, this new guy in town, he's got a memory stick, and it had my picture on it.
Nice. Hey.
But anyway, so I'm in Vegas, and I'm like, I go down the hall, and there's nobody. I mean, because it's a private meeting. I'm like, I wonder if I'll recognize them, you know. And they all come out, and they all look like team owners, you know, big guys with a tie. And here he comes with huge glasses and bootcut jeans, and he's walking down the hall. And so nobody bother him. So I just go talk to him. I tell him, totally nervous. So he goes, what do you do? I said, I did the music for the Kansas City team. He's like, oh yeah, give it to me. And so I gave him the CD. But that was the beginning. So I'm just so excited I got to meet him. But then that week, it was all these VIP events. So I hung out with him, bottle service. And
Gosh, nice.
And they didn't want to let me in because Vegas is weird with dress code, and I'm wearing like leather pants and but everyone thought I was in Bon Jovi. Most of the time they're like, he's in the band, and they would be like, okay, go ahead. And people talk about like the dark side of Vegas and how it's depressing. One of the most depressing days of my life was everyone left and I had one extra day. I couldn't get into any of the clubs anymore.
Dang.
Because I was walking in with guys with Super Bowl rings, and you know, it was like royalty. And it's like, and it went down fast. It was like I got grounded, you know,
The
real
rug
quick.
got pulled out from under you.
Absolutely. So that was exciting for me. And it's like,
So what kind of stuff did you talk to John Bon Jovi about?
was it
Just
cool?
like,
I mean,
do you remember, or was it just
casual? I think I err to the side of trying to be, I don't want to bother them a little bit too much. And it's like, you know, I will hear like my friends or my wife like, why didn't you take a picture? And it's like, well, I think of them as a peer, and I'm trying to model them.
Yeah.
And I every person like that I've been around, Tim McGraw backstage, is like, I learn from them. It's like, how are they handling themselves? What is their presence? How are they being respectful to the people around them? How are they creating distance? Like I'm learning from them. I'm modeling them if there's somebody I admire. And sometimes these people let you down to where they're not what you had wished they would be.
Sure,
but
yeah.
a lot of times I learn something, and it's more of an intangible. So it was just like picking up on their vibe and stuff. And John, I would come back, I'm like, hey, remember me? from last night.
Remember me, Mr. Jovi?
And he'd go,
Mr. Jovi.
and
Bon Jovi.
it is like the greatest thing ever. He's like, has a drink. Yeah, Drew. I'm like, yes, that's me. Yeah. But another funny story that I told recently.
How many years ago was that?
Well, it's been a long time because that's when
He was still singing before he had to retire.
Oh yeah, well before that. I mean, it was probably 2000s, early, like maybe around the "It's My Life" time. I don't know.
2000,
Fresh
yeah.
album. Yeah.
I don't
Right.
know. So and he was, and his wife came in the last day, and everything changed. She was not out partying nearly as much, like as you would expect. But the other funny story is like later in life, and this is weird because I do country, but Post Malone has turned country.
Sure. Yeah.
I actually really like the last album he did, Austin, was hands down one of my favorite albums. The production, there's so many elements like of stuff that I love in it. The lyrics I like, and it reminded me a little bit of Robbie Williams, like the lyrical themes. Like there was some pain behind it, and just it just resonated with me. And like at the end of the year, where Spotify says you're in the top 1% of listening, I just listened to that album over and over again. So he was somebody that was like, man, I would really just like to sit down with him. But flashing back, I was hanging out in Nashville and I was tunnel vision. I'm trying to get a record deal, hang out at the right places. So there's a sushi place, Rago, that everyone kind of, it's, kind of in between downtown, midtown. And I'm sitting at the bar on a Tuesday night, which usually I would go there during the week, shoulder to shoulder with this guy. Nobody's there. He has tattoos all over his face. I didn't know who he was. And I'm like, a few people said hi to him. Like, he's got to be an athlete or something because he's just different. But that's before he kind of slimmed down too. I was like, he's not in very good shape though. Or like, I don't know what he does. But I was with him for like an hour plus and some small talk. And then I see that he was playing the arena the next day.
Gosh.
And I didn't know. I mean, that's how out of it I was because... And when I mentioned earlier, and I'm chasing the deal, and I think that was a bad thing. I was like
blinders on.
trying to navigate this that I don't even see that, I'm listening to country radio because that's what I got to write. And and I knew of him, but I just thought of him. I wrote him off as this rapper that I probably wouldn't like that much. And then I didn't realize his skill set and he's a character, but he seems to be a good person too. I mean, he was super nice to me that night, but I had no clue who he was.
Yeah.
But it's hard, like of all people, if you see him once, he's a recognizable,
He is. I'll have to listen to that. Now,
You've got new music coming out Friday.
Yeah.
We touched on that, but do you is there a preview anyway? Like, what's the song? I'm coming in this totally oblivious. Like, what's the...
Well, interestingly, like a lot of times these songs are something I've played a lot out live and had a reaction, generally acoustically. This particular one isn't like that. I haven't played it a lot. It's just something I was passionate about that's been sitting there for a while. And it, like in the last several months, I was like, I know how this song could work for what I'm doing right now and makes sense. And it's a little bit sexier kind of vibe. So it's called Disappear. And it's kind of like when you have this very strong chemical reaction with someone else that you become like one.
Right.
So the song's about all these things that meld together. Honey melting on your tongue, cream in your coffee.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's got like, and I a lot of my live show, people love the harmonica stuff. I don't put it a lot in the recordings, but it's in this one. And it does, like I mentioned earlier, have this kind of groovy, a little bit in excess vibe.
That's right. Yes,
so I'm excited.
We did touch on it earlier.
I'm excited to do it. It's got swagger. I'm excited to do it live. I feel like it'll be a really good live song. And something that I didn't realize until I was doing some shows in Vegas fairly recently was that I had dumped my wireless mic, switched to this vintage mic I use all the time with a cable. So I had to use the wireless when I went back there. And I realized, my star shines a little brighter when I get out there and do my thing.
Right.
And in country music and storytelling, sometimes I was holding the guitar a little too much. So this one particular song, I already know live, I won't be tethered, so to speak. I just think it'll be a good way to connect to the crowd.
Yeah, all right.
But I never know, but especially since I haven't been playing it a lot, people, they may hate it. They may think, oh, this isn't you, or they may love it. I hope, you always hope it, but with art, you just got to create it. And you can't think about that.
Yeah.
You got to put it out and let them decide.
Be true to it. And
So back to your original question, I've been putting teasers out. So there's little snippets going out on socials. Excuse me, but by Friday we'll put out more stuff, obviously. And then
is it just going to be the one song then, or
I always do singles?
Okay,
and that's for me all that makes sense
in this day and age.
Yeah.
And I would tell any artist that asked me if they cared for my advice that's absolutely the way to go.
Hey, you built you got 8, 9 songs in your catalog already.
And a little bit of trivia, as per In Excess, they also had a song called "Disappear."
I know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I'm aware. It's not, none of that's lost on me. Yeah. But interestingly, that's not the influence of the song. It just happened to be the title.
Right.
And I think I had the chorus separate from the whole other vibe. But the bass line, it's got some swagger and some groovy to it, which is what I'm hearing there. And then the harmonica wasn't in it. And, they do that sometimes, like the Suicide Blonde thing. And I'm like, this kind of would fit. And I did it. And I'm like, no, I can't take it out, So,
you play harmonica?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Gosh, I forgot what I was going to ask all of a sudden. I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. No, I do remember. Did you record this in Nashville?
No. So
Okay.
I don't like telling people because I like to get like their, just their honest opinion, like without knowing. But I have started doing more stuff here, and sometimes in studios, but now my home studio, and it took me a long time. I always before I go to Nashville, I'm a fan of production too, and I have strong ideas about my production. So I would always do at least a rough demo to take with me and say, this is the direction I want, as opposed to, they're amazing. You can just go and give them an acoustic and vocal and they'll flesh it out and it'll sound great. But I really just love the dopamine of production, which that Austin album is totally like that, just like the feels of the dynamics. And so this song had a very definite idea, but I hired a girl in Nashville who's the one who sang Not My Problem with me. Her name's Tanya. She's amazing. She sings. She was Peter Cetera's touring vocalist. And, he has all these movie duets.
Yeah.
And he finally retired, but she had, and we opened for him once at the, when Crown Center did the big concerts.
Yeah. The free concerts. Yeah.
Yes. And he wore a full suit. It was like 105. And so she must have been there, but I didn't know her then. And he said, in the middle of the show, the crowd was flat. He's like, well, maybe I need to do one-hand push-ups because I used to do that. And he was dogging me. So I played harmonica with this blues song, and I would do one arm. And that comes up every once in a while. That doesn't happen anymore.
I think
it was a little over the top.
Andrew Moore.
That was an Andrew Moore story.
That.
Yeah. Oh, he said that?
One of the stories, because Andrew and Trey Jabos.
Course, yes.
I think the first night that Andrew drummed for you, because Trey and Andrew both kind of tell this story, and Trey's like, hey man, he needs a drummer, and the song. And Andrew's like, okay, sure, I guess. And he's like in the middle of the song, and all of a sudden you start doing the one-handed push-up. So that was the big joke. Andrew's like, what the?
It was definitely a thing for a while. But so ironically, this girl is amazing, and she just gets it. She comes in and nails it. So I worked with her in Nashville studios. So I finally just reached out to her. I'm like, I'm not flying to Nashville for every single song. Do you do this? And she has a home studio. So I got her on the song. And the song definitely needed, I think it could have worked as a duet actually, but it definitely needed a female vocal. And ironically, she sang on some In Excess albums too.
Really?
And, yeah. And
which ones?
I can't remember because I looked up her resume and I asked her about it because I'm such a fan. And she's like, it was lost on me when I was there. I didn't realize what a big deal it was, Wow. She's just done so much work. She just, true professional. She just comes in and nails it. And she has the right rasp, soul. Like she's a good match for me because it's just rock and roll enough.
What's her name again?
I'll mispronounce her last name, but I'll send it to you. It's Tanya. It's an H.
Okay.
I feel bad. I feel terribly.
I'll look at their album track list. I bet it was Switch. Bet it was the JD album. I wonder because that's
no. It was a Michael Hutchins.
It was Michael Hutchins. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Wow.
And I would say I don't know. She's probably like close to our age range.
Sure.
It was like very pretty. But if she had a solo career, she might. But she was doing the Peter Cetera thing for many years. That was like, so she's on the road all the time doing that deal. And then when she's in Nashville, she's sang for many people's records. Big and small. And she's awesome.
Speaking of other people in Nashville, how about Tyson Leslie? Do you run into him a lot? And
weirdly, when I'm there, sometimes I will just randomly run into him.
Okay.
But not as, and I haven't been there as much, honestly, recently. But I follow him. I mean, his vivid posts online.
Yes, we see him when he does Purple Jam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the sort of the annual thing,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but it's good to see Kansas City people doing their thing, and
yeah, and I feel like he's found his niche. I mean, the stuff he loves, he gets to be around now all the time, and everyone has moved to Nashville that's doing that scene, and
Exactly. Right.
you know, I mean, he's on stage with all of his heroes.
that's
which is
it.
really cool.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So when I was doing the rodeo, I'm getting in the airport, get off the plane, and there's Go-Go. And I'm like, what are you doing here? Oh, Tyson. I was like, okay. And that was when Tyson was with Sammy Hagar.
Okay.
And they were playing the same night I was. So it was like, well, it's good. Like, I'm proud. Kansas City, man. I'm headlining an arena, and he's over there singing out with Sammy. And it's like, you know, we came up playing Jerry's Bait Shop.
Yeah.
So you've got some shows, acoustic show. Is it acoustic shows this weekend?
Yeah.
Or
I just
we've got a
I just
list.
added one Sunday. Sunday I'll be at Tall Trellis, which is Olathe. It's not on there.
Okay,
Great. Ryan Triggs,
Park
musician.
Place next week.
Yeah, you got
Park Place coming up. That's the family show. Josie will be there probably if you want to meet her.
Okay, is that a full band show or
No. The Fridays are the family acoustic deal.
Okay.
So I do that.
So,
And I'll be out in Topeka for a couple of things coming up.
How about Strang Hall? You played there.
that's downtown
before,
Overland Park.
yeah,
So
that's where we had one of our podcast meetings
Yeah.
before we set up our podcast. We met there anyway.
So that's really close to my house. So this is a whole new world has opened to me having a child, because you always hear about the parents, and like I always had like soccer moms that would follow me. That was like a big part of my demographic. But now there's real soccer moms and their kids play with my daughter. So it's like, and the dads too. So like we have become friends with them. It's cool. So like those close shows, that's like close to, because we're all in Prairie Village. So it's like right across there, and it's laid back. It's fun. And it's like, those are maybe the closest thing I do to I kind of forget. I mean, this is what I do, so I don't enjoy it like I should sometimes. It's
if I'm not mistaken, it looks like most of your stuff is acoustic shows.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then the occasional band show then.
Weirdly, last year I had like no band shows, but we're kind of recalibrating venue-wise, booking agent-wise, things like that. And it's easier. It's way easier for me to book the acoustic thing.
Sure.
Gun, boom, boom, boom.
Right.
But I also deliberately don't overbook the band, because it's like a special occasion for people to come out and see that deal.
Yeah, very true. Right.
But having not done it, so I was back in Vegas doing. This is after NFR. I did Blake Shelton's Old Red, which is a new venue. I mean, they have one in Oklahoma, one in Nashville, but there's one on the Strip, and that's when I mentioned that I'd got back to the wireless and moving around, and I was like, man, you know, it's a different me. I think I'm proud of what I do acoustically, and I hope that I stand out as an artist and someone who has a lane that is authentic, but I think I stand out a lot more when I'm with a band.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just my passion comes through a little more.
Sure.
And my skill set.
Well, yeah, because it's like you got other people carrying the load, and you can break out and do explore what you're talking about.
Yeah, the performance, the connection with the people, that kind of thing, and
Nice.
So I am doing. It was weird because I'm in Vegas, and I was like, man, I really missed this, and I didn't even realize it because I wasn't doing it in Kansas City for like a year almost, where we just didn't have band shows, and then it was obviously a pretty cool venue too to be back with a band, and the guys that I got, my friend got me a band leader, and they're just top of the line music. They're all touring guys in Vegas, and we went to rehearse and had a rehearse space. So they're all coming off the road with different acts and walk in, and they knew my songs like perfectly. And then we're like, start playing Hands to Yourself. I'm like, go home, guys. You know these songs. We do not need to practice this. Just go home and sleep, and we'll have a great show tomorrow.
Right.
And we had a girl on fiddle, which is unique for me. I mean, I would do that all the time if I, if I could. But she just showed up and just nailed it, and
that's great.
It was cool. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
You work with a lot of. You're all professionals.
It's cool. Yeah.
Right.
And I take it for granted a lot of times because, like now, when I was mentioning like I need players sometimes. And I'm like, well, I'll get somebody that's young and hungry that really wants to work till 2 a.m. And but then I take for granted I work with veterans all the time, and they show up. I mean, so much experience and just know their stuff. And then it's like, well, I might have to develop some of these people coming up if I want to work with some different musicians.
Right. Nice.
Well, Drew, is there anything?
Well, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Just a couple quick ones, real quick, and we'll finish her up here real quick.
We're an hour and a half in. By the way.
Oh, good. It flew by. We're having a good time.
It did. Tell us real quick about your guitar and microphone setup. What brand name, anything like that?
Oh man, this is for the nerds. I'm a Gibson guy on acoustic, and I mostly just play acoustic. I mean, when I'm recording, I do electric, and I would like to bring electric out. To be 100% honest, it's like I have to carry a whole nother rig. And it doesn't do that much for the band. So mostly I'm playing an acoustic when I'm with the band as well. So I have a Gibson Hummingbird Pro, a Songwriter, which are essentially the same guitar. Those are my go-tos. I have some other ones, but those are the ones I usually use. But my acoustic setup is a little bit interesting. So I have a pedal board I had planned to buy, I did buy it. I was out with seeing John Goolsby, also a friend, and he's in Nashville now. But he was playing with this other guy who was touring, and he had like this foot percussion thing. And I used to play a tambourine with my foot. But it was like a woodblock deal, which now I'm familiar. I wasn't familiar at the time. I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, get a hold of him. So I ordered it, but there was a return policy. But this guy made these beautiful custom ones. He was not happy that I wanted to return it. But Troy Schuster was drumming for me, and he's like, Roland just came out with one, and it's just a pedal. And I was like, I'm playing restaurants, playing big venues. That's perfect. You got a volume knob, and it has that stomp box, which essentially sounds like you're hitting your guitar.
Yeah.
But it has different kicks. So I immediately got that, or he got it for me when the drum store in Warnell was still open. I think he picked it up there. And I never went back. I mean, because I tried pre-recorded drum loops, but a lot of times people will hire me for private events, and they'll start having a few drinks, and they'll get crazy and dance, and it needs something more. And I sell it that way too, where I'm going to give you more and give you this energy. So now I got that. I always used harmonizers. A big fan of that, like to fill up and I feel like I use the TC Helicon stuff is what I used to use Digitech stuff, but it's like I've been around long enough that I used to have stepped through the chord progression, and that would inevitably be one behind or one in front. But now it's triggered by the guitar. So it's all really live, and I like that better than using the loops. I've never been a loop guy either. So this way, it's all live happening. And then I upgraded. I use a JBL compact line array, but I had to get a bigger one because I do a lot of outdoor shows. And with that kick, I was on the clipping all the time for the big parties. So we got a bigger sub now. But that's kind of most of the nerd stuff. But I might start bringing electric back out with the band, because now the simulators are so great. I don't have to bring an amp. I can just plug something in and have some electric too, just because it's cool.
Good.
But I'm not a gearhead. But I get a lot of questions about my main mic, which is a Heil mic, and it looks vintage. And I looked before I was in Nashville. I was doing the Boyfriend video.
Another good song.
Thank you. That one, that's probably my biggest hit.
Yeah.
Blake Shelton almost cut it 3 different times. It didn't happen. But anyway, we were doing the video, and I'm like, this is the coolest mic I could find. And they use it in Hunger Games. Is one of the places, and I think ZZ Top had them. But anyway, when I was there, a lot of the guys are crew guys, and they're like, that's a really good mic, because I'm lip syncing, of course, for a video we're filming. And I tried it, and I'm like, it just had the right boost. So that's what I always use at my acoustic gig. And I was using it with the band. And then I had to get a vintage cable because I'm a purist, and walking around with it. But as mentioned before, once I untethered myself and went back to the wireless, I'm like, I think I can give the crowd something a little more with the wireless.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice.
So there you go.
Good stuff.
What was your other one?
What do you do anything for your voice before a show? Electrolytes or anything? Well,
I mean, I feel like my voice is pretty strong. I mean, I do tons of shows, like sometimes we do 2 a day. I don't have like a system, but I will always tell artists it's hydration and sleep, period. Hydration and sleep. And so I try to hydrate, I try to sleep, but every once in a while I have to call in prednisone, which is like an emergency if I have no voice, which has happened on some really big shows. It happened when I was in Vegas. So
it's a steroid, and then
which isn't good because you're in danger of rupturing though too. Yeah, there's a lot of side effects,
and it keeps you awake all night.
It's different for different people, but it keeps me wide awake. I eat like a horse, and I'm kind of moody.
Yeah, if you take it after like 8 a.m., you're not sleeping that night.
Wow,
but it's just essentially it's inflammation when that happens. So that's a strong anti-inflammatory. But musicians do everything bad because we stay up too late, we drink, all those things are dehydrate, no sleep. But something I tried recently, I've never tried before. We were opening for Montgomery Gentry, and I lost my voice again. Is warming up through a straw. I never knew that was a thing.
Okay.
But apparently it focuses thing. And so I did that all night.
Nice.
So I'm willing to give that a shot because this is like a big thing in singing world. And in all my years, I was just in the last year kind of realized this singing through a straw. So maybe if someone else brings this up, let me know in the podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
We will. Great. That's all I had.
All right,
well,
cool.
Drew 6.
Dave,
Thank you guys so
man,
much.
Thank you.
Thank
man.
you very much
You
for
just
indulging us and
great.
coming all the way out here to,
Yeah. That's
to
great.
sit down and
So talented.
Much more fun in person.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, you got great merchandise too.
Oh,
I'm
thank you.
going to get myself a Drew 6
and so you
t-shirt.
design all that too yourself.
Yeah,
Then you indicated,
yeah.
or you
Yes, the only thing that the initial logo with the bull was when I first started going to Nashville. I became friends with this couple from Australia, and now they did a book for Tony Brown, who's like super producer. Worked with Elvis. That's how big he is.
Wow.
They're amazing at design and art and branding. So I got them early, and they had this fashion brand for a while, and they endorsed me, which was like right up my alley. It was like rock star kind of clothing, but he designed the bull logo, and he said that I reminded him of Bon Jovi, so he felt like that logo kind of looked like that. And I find everybody wants to put the number 6, and I use it like my name. So I'm like,
Yeah.
you have to write it out, because at that point in time, I was really going that direction with it. And so he did a great job. But so the bull and the font that you see on most of the stuff was him. But everything else, like all the visuals that you see, I'm
like
got my
flyers
hands
for
in.
shows.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, good
Well,
stuff.
my degree's in graphic design, so I have an eye for that and appreciate that.
Cool.
So
Well,
right on.
does not surprise me.
All right, Drew 6,
Hey,
Thanks,
yeah.
guys.
Kansas City Knights.
Hey, it's always a great night
When it's a Kansas
City night.
Yeah.
You got it.
Thank you very much, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Take care, guys.